Recently, I've been making some small stone fishing weights, and I thought I'd try my hand at targeting some carp. But rather than kit myself out with the rest of the carp gear, I've been doing it on the cheap using a layer rod, a carp rig and some bread, and it seems to be working. My normal pike layer rod is 9 foot and casts 20 to 60 grams. That covers most of the layers I regularly throw. And it has enough backbone to deal with anything I'm likely to catch. With this I'm using a mid-range Daiwa 2000 size spinning reel with a front drag. It's a little on the small side, but it feels comfortable with the rod. The spool is loaded with 30-pound braid, and as I don't have a spare spool, I'm using this as a main line with a mono leader. For the leader, I have a standard 15-pound mono filament, and generally I've been winding on a couple of rod lengths. To join the leader to the braid, I'm tying a uni knot to uni knot. Basically, I'm overlapping both ends by 6 inches and pinching them together. And then with the mono, making a loop and passing the tag end through the loop, over the main lines and back through the loop again, which I'll repeat 5 or 6 times. Then with a drop of water, I can tighten it down, but not completely. I then repeat the knot on the other side in exactly the same way, and when finished, snug them down and cut off the tags. This makes a relatively small knot that doesn't interfere too much with the reel or eyes on short casts. For the end tackle or rig, I'm starting out with a micro leg clip and accompanying sleeve. These are one of those completely over-engineered bits of tackle I love. The sleeve goes onto the leader first, followed by the clip, and a small swivel, which again I've attached using a uni knot. That swivel then sits in the end of the clip snugly, and to secure it there's a microscopic clip that I can twist off the side, and using a pair of snipe nose pliers I can push that in to secure the swivel. To use it, the weight just clips in, and the sleeve with a bit of lubrication pushes up to hold it. I'll explain what else that does later. For the hook length, I'm going to start at the bait end with a quick change bait stop. I can thread this onto some 12-pound mono. Then I tie a single overhand loop, and quite a large one, which should flatten out to about 1 inch in length. I can then cut off about 18 inches of line. Hookwise, I'm using a size 8 barbless, and to attach it, a knotless knot. For this, I pass the line through the back of the eye and bring the loop knot just off the bend of the hook. Then pinching everything together, I can wrap the line back down the shank until it's level with the point. Then pass the line through the eye again from the back and snug it down. After some advice from the carp heads down the lake, I've ended up with a 6-inch hook length, which I finished with a double overhand loop knot. The hook length then loops into the swivel, which I'd normally do on the bank. Back to the leg clip, the purpose of that really is fish safety. The weight will hang down from the mouth of a hooked fish and normally be dragged through all kinds of snaggy messes. Should it really get stuck, the weight can actually pull out of that sleeve, saving the fish and obviously sacrificing the weight. In this case it's a stone, so all I'll be leaving behind is a stone. For bait I'm using bread, which I normally hate as it never stays on the hook for any length of time, but the fish tend to like it. To push the bread out, I'm using a syringe that I've already cut the end off. I normally have these kicking round as I use them for measuring out resins when I'm lure making. I can just press that through the bread against my hand 3 or 4 times, and then with the plunger slightly compress it. I don't want to knock all the air out of it. To bait up, I'm using a quick stop tool to push the quick stop through the bread in the centre. Then I can slide that out. Once in the water, the bread quickly swells, almost hiding the hook, and the air inside the bread will also keep it popped up. Bread, despite being frail, can last for hours popped up, but a lot less if there's little fish around to nibble it, and it seldom comes back on the retrieve. For the fishing, I picked a grey Tuesday with the promise of rain, which almost guaranteed I'd get the local park lake to myself. Some carp seemed to be hanging on a shallow bar, and I made a short cast feathering the line so I wouldn't lose the bread on impact. For support, I brought along a short bank stick for the front of the rod, and for the rear, just my bag. To sink the line, I tightened up against the weight and then quickly opened the drag right up and backed some line off so there was a little slack. Then it was a waiting game, and I recast roughly every 20 minutes in carpy looking spots. Surprisingly, it didn't take long for something to go screaming off, and despite fishing with heavyish gear, it took some time to convince the fish to come in. I picked up another 2 fish quickly after and was beginning to feel like some kind of carp god and already thinking about getting myself a bivvy. I went home after fish number 4. I'd not caught any monsters, but I was glad the rig and the setup had worked out. Buoyed up by my newfound talent, I went back a couple of days later, and as the hours wore on and I caught nothing, I realised that maybe I had a lot to learn about carp fishing, and it wasn't all just throwing stones and bread. Thanks for watching.